Welcome to Leading Ideas, a podcast site for leaders, aspiring leaders, and anyone interested in leadership's best practices. I'm Skip Everitt, your host and commentator for Leading Ideas. Leading Ideas is filmed at New Horizons Computer Learning Center of North Florida in Gainesville, Florida. New Horizons is our sponsor and host organization. This podcast is made possible by the President and CEO of New Horizons of North Florida, Tim Broom. Those podcasts are accessible, these are, on Facebook or Vimeo. Go to facebook.com and search Leading Ideas from Skip Everitt, and it'll take you right to the collection. My producer is Jason Phillips, a journalist and media specialist here with New Horizons. And welcome to our co-host today, John Reger.
Hey, it's
welcome,
great to
John.
be here, Skip.
I'm glad you're here. And this is really crazy because John's the professional broadcaster. So I'm here to learn from him, and what we're going to do today is to learn about golf and the business of golf and the game of life as it relates to the business of golf. I know that when I was thinking of the topic today, those are the two that emerged, John, and I want you to just launch into the first one. And the first one is basically, I'll refresh myself, describe what you do in terms of Briefcase Golf, how it relates to the game of golf, and what we can learn from that. And then we'll go to the second lesson of why some people fail and some succeed in the game of golf. Now, John is owner of Briefcase Golf, and if you don't get that title, you've got to understand that it's about golf and business. He's also a 28-year-old PGA pro, and that's not the best thing. John is my teacher.
And Skip's an excellent student, I must say.
Well, jump right in and tell us about Briefcase Golf and some insights about business and golf, the relationship between the two.
Well, Skip, for the viewers out there, Briefcase Golf is a golf and business networking group. And what we do is, through our radio show, we have these outings. And we play 9 holes or 18 holes sometimes. We do it once or twice a month. We go to a nice golf course somewhere and we play golf. One of the best ways you can learn about business and do more business is actually getting out there on the golf course. And it's not necessarily going out to play golf and trying to close a deal while you're playing. It's all about building a relationship. And you talk to anybody who's heading up a Fortune 500 company, it's that face-to-face networking. It's real important, those personal skills to interact. So it's what happens off the golf course after you get together and play. So what we want to do at Briefcase Golf is not only get people to play more golf, we want people to generate some leads and referrals. We want people to have fun. And more importantly, if you're gathering with a lot of other business folks, you're going to learn something that's going to add to your bottom line no matter what your business is. You know, you might own a dry cleaners, or you might be a motivational expert, and you'll actually together combine and come up with new ideas and ways to add to your bottom line. So that's what Briefcase Golf is all about. It's golf and business, and we have a lot of fun with it. We have a website, briefcasegolf.com. You can go sign up, and we'll send you a free e-letter.
I think what I'd be interested in is the process, because I know at some point in time when I'm playing golf with someone I've not played with, you've always got that point when either you say to them or they say to you, what do you do? Is there a great way to build that into the next step, or is there a timing issue there? What about on the course? What tips do you have as for building relationships with someone new on the golf course?
Well, you know, sometimes it takes an hour or two to tell somebody what you do for a living. If you have a 30-second elevator speech, that's great. And sometimes that's all that you are afforded. But, you know, on a golf course, not only can tell somebody what you do, but you can start getting some anecdotal stories going on. You can start relating about their families and their background and, you know, maybe how they learned how to play golf or how they got into the business that they did. So you have time in golf. You know, unlike other sports, if you play tennis, you play basketball, you know, you have to focus, everything's fast moving. But in golf, you can either walk or you can ride, and you have plenty of time in between the shots, and golf is a social game. So to answer your question as far as, you know, what do you do as far as getting to know somebody and what they do, the golf course is a perfect place because you can spread that out over a period of a couple hours.
Absolutely. And what's the worst thing you can do? What's the faux pas that you can make?
Well, there's a lot of faux pas you can have with business golf. I mean, you know, you have to be careful where you invite people to play golf because you want people to be comfortable. A golf course can be a very intimidating place. And some of the faux pas you have is, you know, there's a McDonald's on every corner, but golf courses, you have to kind of know where they're at. And a faux pas is not telling them where the golf course actually is. Now in the world of Google and cell phones and all that, you can figure out a way to get there. But seriously, you should know that when you're inviting somebody to a golf course, you need to be there before they get there. You need to be there to make sure they know what to wear. and they need to be not intimidated as far as coming to maybe a country club or an upscale golf course somewhere, because it may be their first time there. So there's a lot of little details that you have to prepare even before they arrive on the golf course to make sure they feel comfortable.
Okay. That's great advice. How about the idea of getting into your pitch too soon? I've had that happen to me a couple of times.
Never pitch on the golf course at all. You're just building a relationship.
Okay.
When you go into the 19th hole afterwards, you might have a little bit of a discussion, but if you set up a relationship, then you can go have a business meeting later. You can go to their office and their place of business to do it. But on a golf course right now, you just want to make sure you built that relationship. You can tell a lot about a person's personality and their business ethics on a golf course just by watching them play the game of golf. Did they keep score properly? You know, did they kick the balls out behind a tree, you know, in the middle of the woods somewhere? Those are kind of things to do, but it's never trying to close a deal on the golf course. I guess the best advice I would say that is don't try too hard.
Right.
Take your time. You know what? If it's meant to be, it is. And so it's not a pressure thing where you got to go play 9 holes of golf or 18 holes of golf and you got to come out of there with that contract. No, you know what it is? You build that relationship over a period of time on the golf courses where you do that.
Great. I'm going to throw you a real challenge. I'm going to pretend to be somebody. I've called you up and said, John, I'm CEO of XYZ company. You know, I've never played, but I've decided to start playing golf and getting into kind of golf and business relationships. How do I do this?
Well, I mean, first of all, you learn how to play the game. I mean, really, you know, so many people show up at sporting venues without any idea.
I play putt-putt.
If you play putt-putt, you're in.
Okay.
That's a start. You can at least putt. But having fun on a golf course is the most important thing. So with the CEO, sometimes it's not important for them to become a good golfer, but it's important for them to know the rules, the safety, the etiquette, and the skills. So you do that by seeing a PGA golf professional, and not only can they tell you how to hit a golf ball, but they can tell you the little nuances that you need to maneuver through when you go to a golf course somewhere, how to fix a divot, how to rake a bunker, you know, how to do things where you're playing at the proper pace of play and those kind of things.
Great, thank you. I couldn't agree more. Anything else about the game of golf and business? Is this a growth industry? Is it something that someone should do if they've not played golf before?
Well, the game of golf right now, quite frankly, is flat. It hasn't grown very much in the last couple of years, and part of that is because the real estate development situation is really down right now. They're not building any golf courses. In fact, they used to open up a golf course every day, and they did that for 8 or 10 years. 300-400 golf courses a year were opening. Now that many are closing. So it's up to the golf professionals, the PGA of America, through their Play Golf America initiatives to keep people active and playing. So my advice is that, you know, golf is too hard, takes too long, and it's too expensive. And so you have to get by those barriers. So a round of golf doesn't have to be 18 holes in 5 hours. You can enjoy a round of golf, play 3 holes in 1 hour, hit a few balls, play a couple holes, you're in, you're out. That's what the young people today are looking for, and it's us as PGA golf professionals in the golf industry to recognize that golf can be a shorter time period now to play, and it needs to be more fun.
Good for you. How do we get in touch with you?
Well, you go to briefcasegolf.com. You call 352-682-3336. John at briefcasegolf.com. Hey, we're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. You listen to us on the radio on the weekends on ESPN before college game day and the NFL today. So it's not hard to find us.
Great. Good. All right. Enough of the fun stuff. Let's get serious. If you look at the game of golf that's been around, how long?
Well,
since the
1600s.
Yeah, since the 1600s.
St. Andrews, Scotland, officially.
So it's got a history, and it's got a history of people who made it to a certain point, made it to the next point, made it to the top. What I want you to talk about today is what the winners do to win and what the folks who derail in their golf career, to follow on to a previous subject of a podcast, what is it that happens to those who never make it to the top of their game? So how do they make it and how they don't? Who's a champion and who's an almost champion? What happens?
Well, this is a mental game. You know, 90% of golf is mental, especially when you get to that level. Everybody out there has talent. Everybody's a really good player, exceptional, beyond just what we can imagine. They hit the ball 300 yards. They can chip and putt like nobody else. You'll see struggling tour professionals come back to your home club and they go out and they shoot 65. And you're like, how can they not do that on the tour every day? And it has to do with focus. It's a comfort level. It's just like anything else. If you're playing on the tour and you're just good enough to get on the tour, Okay, now the next step is to win a tour event. The next step is maybe to win a major. The next step is to win several majors. So there is a pecking order out there. Mm-hmm. And just like anything else, people get outside their comfort zone. If you look at the great golf champions, whether it's Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Ben Hogan, on and on, Annika Sorenstam, they don't play golf for the money. They don't play golf for the titles. They play golf because they love the competition. And there's a deep, burning desire inside that it doesn't matter if they're out on the golf course or they want to race you 50 yards for a beer in the parking lot. They'll do it. It's very competitive, and that's what separates them. You've got to be a very competitive person to stay at the top, and that drives them to that point that they're very focused, very detailed, to where somebody may get comfortable out there. You win a couple tour events, you win a couple $1 million, hey, you get complacent. But these people, doesn't matter how many tournaments they win, they're very competitive, and they have that burning desire, whether they're 25 years old or 85 years old. They still want to go out and beat you.
So when you I have an example, and I won't mention who it is, but someone who comes up to the 17th hole at Sawgrass, and their career is like this, and they are about to go over that mountain and hit the top, and they come off of a par 3 with a 7 or a 9, and they disappear. What happened?
Well, they lost their focus. And what happens is when you talk to a PGA Tour player, an LPGA Tour player, when you interview them after they finish their round of golf, the ones that win, they can barely get a sentence out. They're in a zone. They really are. They're focused on what they're doing. They're not worried about their career, the money, the title, anything. They're focused at the moment at hand. And you have to be in that moment. So when they come to the 17th hole and they're hitting it in the water, well, they're thinking about winning. They're thinking about getting past the 17th hole. They're thinking about the title, the money, and they can't let that creep in there because they just finished 70 holes of competition, and they might be 6 or 8 under par. Unbelievable golf, and then all of a sudden they get to that one hole because they lost their focus. So you have to stay in the zone. You have to stay in the moment. You can't think of anything else except the shot at hand, and that's what separates a great golf champion because they can concentrate to that level where the average person can't.
All right. And there's been, for people who don't play golf, they're saying that is not only the most boring sport to watch on TV, but the interviews are the most boring interviews I've ever seen. And you've just answered that question. They're still in that zone. It also seems to me to be a personality issue because I think it was Trevino that would talk and joke his way through a round that would drive everybody else crazy. And others are just so focused on it. Well,
Lee Trevino was a perfect candidate for what you're talking about. He would laugh and joke, but he deliberately did that, and he'd drive his playing partners nuts. But he would focus for that 10 seconds it took for him to hit the golf shot. And, again, golf can be a boring game to watch on television, but watching fireworks on television is the same way. All right, so if you love to watch golf, it's great in person. But it's one of the few games there's a connection. You can go play the 17th hole at TPC Sawgrass as an amateur golfer, the same hole that Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus are playing. So, that's the bond of golf. No matter if you shoot 100 or you're a tour pro, you're connected to the game. And so if you're there in person and you're watching it in person, you can touch and feel it. And it's not like going to an NFL game, an NBA game. You have to sit in the stands and you're far removed from the players. It's a touchy-feely thing when you play golf.
Very much so. Amen. What's your short list of lessons from golf that help us in life?
Well, it's what you put into it is what you'll get out of it. That's the way golf is.
This is my teacher. No, I haven't had a lesson recently.
Yeah, it's people like Skip who come and they take one lesson, don't play for 3 months, and they come back. Why am I not playing any better? Yeah. But
that's not me.
But golf is a game that it truly is. You take your club and you take the ball and you try to put it in the hole as few strokes possible. There's no referee. It's you and the golf course. And so it's a sport based on self-responsibility. It's a sport based on hard work, self-reliance. There's all kinds of things that go into golf that mirror business success. And the best thing you can do with a young person is just teach them how to play. They don't have to be great players, but teach them how to play the game. Teach them the rules, the safety, the etiquette, the traditions, and you'll have a young person that will grow up to be a good business person.
Great. John, thank you so much. This has been a super session.
Hey, it's great to be here, Skip.
Thank you very much. We'll get a lot out of that. And thank you all for joining us for Leading Ideas. We'll see you next time.